Connecting Cultures follows the life of foreigners in our country. Our program is true stories told by representatives of many nations living and developing in Kazakhstan, and for whom our country has become home. Today in program, artist Alexis Strelitz, whose thirst for adventure has taken him to Kazakhstan, and today his works are the main decoration in design of cultural centers of our country.
Every human being values freedom in all its manifestations, especially the freedom of self-expression. As is well known, the art is the best way to discover one's individuality through living out one's own fantasies. Today we have an opportunity to come closer in touch with one art form, thanks to the hero of our program, Alexis Strelitz.
Alexis was born in one of the most romantic cities in the world, Paris. One day, when our hero was 6 years old, he was amazed by the process of a painter's work he was closely watching. That beauty and details of a landscape depicted on the canvas turned into one of Alexis' most vivid childhood memories and played a significant role in establishing him as an artist.
Alexis, you are a native of France, but speaking of your descent, your roots, this country is not your true native land, is it?
No, it's not. Indeed, I have foreign origins. Actually, I'm a product of the white Russian immigrants who came to Paris after the revolution. And I was raised in this kind of very strange and special atmosphere as a white Russian dvoryanin or officer. My great-grandfather came to France actually before the revolution. He was a soldier in the Russian expeditionary force during the First World War. The Tsar sent the French government the expeditionary force of 40,000 soldiers to help the French against the Germans in Verdun. And he was in Verdun in 1916 already, fighting with the French allies.
And how has the story of your ancestors influenced your life?
I was raised in parts by my grandmother and my great-grandmother Olga. And she spoke to me about my great-grandfather, Alexander. He was a brave officer. He had honor because he was an aristocrat. And basically I was trained and raised in these values. And for me, those values as a soldier, as an officer and a man of honor helped me to gather my strength here and to live in many countries and to keep, let's say, a straight profile. So as being a French soldier and a descendant of a white Russian officer who fought against the German in the First World War, I'm very proud to be able to relate to the fight of your brave 28 soldiers of the Pamphilov regiment who were able to destroy the 18 German tanks. I give my respect and value to these people.
You started drawing in your early age, and what had pushed you into this art form?
I think it was a call. I just needed to do it, I guess. Simple as that. I guess it's the example of some people I met when I was young, old masters, great artists. I was inspired by these people. They were role models for me. And I think being an artist for me was a call of the will and also a matter of freedom. Actually, my first picture was a cartoon. So I was very proud of it. I was 7 years old and I showed it to my mother. And it was my first realization. You know, sometimes you have classes like mathematics, for instance. It's very boring. So I was always at the last row of the school or the class. And so I started to draw like this and to create stories, you know, and to let my fantasy flying away. So I guess it's when my career started, actually. So basically, yes, I had this will in my life to become an artist, to become a creator, and to tell stories, which I do right now, actually.
So, when and why did you decide to make this passion your entire life's work?
It's a tough question to answer. I think when I started to take it seriously, like when I sold my first painting, Well, actually, it was funny because at the time I was working as an advertisement agent. Basically, I was doing what you guys are doing. I was working for production. And one day I decided to make a copy of a Klimt. And some guys from the production saw it and said, "Wow, it's beautiful." I said, "It's just a copy." I was 23. I knew how to draw, but it was, I didn't take it seriously. I wanted to do a career as a production assistant. When I realized I could sell my first painting, I decided to do an entire career of it.
I was really surprised that a Frenchman lives in Kazakhstan, having a family and creating such a beautiful art. In the museum or in the gallery, you see art but you don't feel it. You can feel Alex's art because he integrates his soul in his art.
What art movement did you choose and what steps did you take to achieve this goal?
That is a difficult question for an artist because in order to choose an art movement, you need to find yourself. I think I did not choose an art movement. I would say that art movement chose me. So I become, despite of myself, an expressionist because I was very fast always and a little bit brutal. So my style now can be called neo-expressionist or post-expressionist or modern expressionism because I put always a little bit of roughness in my art. That's because it's what I resent inside. I did not take a label. The label was given to me by some external critic, basically. In 1993, it was a turning point in my career. I had a big exhibition in Paris. The exhibition worked. I made money, but I spent all of it. In 1993, we had our first crisis in Europe. So I decided to take a big step and go to America. And I knew at the time there was a big demand for technical, skilled artists who would be able to work on large-scale projects.
And did you achieve any success in this sphere?
So I was hired, I had the chance to be hired by two big companies. One of the first company was one of the biggest companies in New York for decoration. I worked 2 years over there. And another one was doing big fresco, realistic art. And basically my biggest order in America was, there was two orders. One in New York, in the Rockefeller Center. I had to restore a 600 square meters project, enormous, Art Deco building, Art Deco fresco. It took me 1 year with 3 other people to work on this one, so it was a big turning point. And the other one, because I did that, I was hired to do the restoration and the recreation of a fresco was burned down during the war at the Dallas Automobile Fair Park, which is a very enormous historical place. Approximately, I would say it was a project of almost 200 square meters fresco. So it was one of the biggest points in my career.
After having staying for many years in the United States, our hero also visited Turkey and China. And then he went to Kyrgyzstan for the wedding of his close friend, who admiringly described advantages of the life in that country. There, the hero of our program met his wife-to-be, a native of Kazakhstan. Thus, Alexis started getting acquainted with our country. Alexis is the soul of kindness. He just radiates it. And that's what had attracted me to him. Actually, he is quite an extraordinary person. A very open and fair man who absolutely cannot lie at all. Absolutely. He is a great father who is fully engaged in the children's life. He does homework with them, plays even more often than me, if to be honest. There is a good connection between them. As a husband, Alexis is a gentleman, a very gallant man. There is almost never serious quarreling between us.
And what creative achievements in our country can you boast of?
My first achievement is to be able to express my ideas about art and to have been able to sell it. Actually, I have two big achievements. I have this casino in Kapchigai. My biggest adventure, my first big adventure in Kazakhstan, we had to do some kind of VIP room, very modern, very avant-garde. My biggest work achievement here is this place, Koptobe, this restaurant. It was a tremendous adventure. Two people worked with me. The first was an Italian architect, And I had another person who helped me a great deal, is a specialist in Shtuka. So the collaboration of the Italian man, the Frenchman, and Russian Kazakh was a great, tremendous achievement. The idea at the beginning was to make a book, because it's about Abay. So when I presented my first idea to make a gigantic book inside the restaurant, the boss, the client, was very excited, but he said it was too much. So basically, we created a structure with a book at the entrance with the Italian architect, and then we created this concept of opening pages. So as you can see, the whole structure of the work is like the page of an old magazine from the 19th century.
And what about this painting? It's amazing.
This painting was decided by the corporation here. They wanted to create an atmosphere of Nowruz, the most important celebration in this country, to welcome the clients, tourists in Kazakhstan.
Currently, Alexis Strelitz has been living happily in Almaty for almost 8 years. He has got a large family and wonderful children whom he is very proud of. And our hero has been able not only to realize his ideas as an artist, but also to fulfill his childhood dream to become a correspondent. Alexis has written 3 big stories on natural resources of Kazakhstan and work of employees of various corporations. On the basis of one of these reports, the hero of our program has even written a book. He is a very charismatic, kind and caring man. He loves our mom. We frequently go for walks. He often takes me to his job and shows his paintings, and I evaluate them, so to speak, price him. His works convey the spirit of Kazakh people much more strongly than the Kazakh cinematography. I don't like that he works too hard. He should take a rest more often.
For you, it's more important to make your own art, but you also give lessons in painting. What qualities should your students have to make you be interested in this work?
I think they have to be interested in what they're doing. First thing, they have to show motivation. And I think they have to feel what they do.
On the lessons with Alexis, we not only talk about art, but he introduces me to the culture. It was very easy for me to reach the contact with him because when we first met, we talked about what do I like, not what he will teach me.
In all these years of staying in our country, I suppose you have some perception about this country, its people and the way of life. Could you share any of your impressions with us?
My first impression here is Kazakhstan for me is like it's a new nation. And for an artist, it's a great opportunity if you have the guts to face the challenge. Because for me, Kazakhstan is like a big step, okay, so far. And for an artist, in my imagination, it was like a white canvas. So it's a tremendous opportunity. The second thing I love about here is the emotion. People are very emotional here. It's not like Europe. In Europe, when you're an artist, it's not who you are, it's what you represent as a technician. Here, you have to be a technician, but also you have to be a person. You have to be an individual.
I have been drawing for many years, and I think it has been passed on me from my dad. And I am good at drawing a pony. I like when my dad teaches me how to draw. He paints very beautifully. And I want to learn to paint like he does, exactly like him.
And how do you see your field life?
If I have the possibility to stay in Kazakhstan, work more and better, I would stay, seriously. Actually, I want to create my production company in Kazakhstan. And I'd like to hire more people and to teach them what I know, if it's possible one day, and to have a larger company and do some humanitarian work. This is my dream. This country brought a lot to me. I have a wife, beautiful. I have a nice apartment. I have a job, even sometimes it's a dangerous job. But I'm not complaining. I mean, the country has been good to me so far. So I thought people around me were very hospitable, and I got a really nice interaction with people.